It's Jason Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys today a battle review, a battle I got to watch in person, but I was waiting for the official drop to do the bar for it, and now it is here. Official versus Viixen the Assassin. Happened the night before Gnome 14. Really good battle. Got to watch it live, and obviously now watching it on the watch back, it still holds up. I really think one of the better showings for both women, I'd say, over their last couple years of performances. Not that there's not other good showings. I mean, Official versus Loso earlier this year was good. You even go to Viixen versus Chilla, Viixen versus Yoshi. I think these are two battlers that, if you look recent, there's a lot of critique, which they talk about a lot in here. People saying they fell off, things of that nature. But it just goes to show when you're not really at your peak or your limelight, like if you've set a high standard and you're just not that, I think people are going to have things to say no matter what, even if you're still battling at like a pretty good level. Even if someone's past their peak, that does not mean that they're not still a good battle rapper and doing good things. So without further ado, just get in the first round of the battle. To start off the first, Official starts out, her opening bar. You know what happens when you give a big bitch a plate. I'll scrape it. Thought that was cool. I spent all night waiting to see Viixen. It's BT Uncut. I thought that was fire. She is this O negative, anybody can get it bar. Reminds me a lot of a bar Nitty had against her when they battled. I'm just the type O. Anybody can get it. I don't think it's a bite or anything, but just a concept it reminded me of. Still think it's clever and get some points. And then she gets into something that is different for Official in this battle, and besides her punching, is like her biggest strength just within this battle, and that's just the pure rapping. And she had a couple pockets where she just turns up like the speed heavy, and she had this first one, I won't do it justice if I try to rap it obviously, but she ends this whole pocket and build up with titties on the gun harder than Yoshi's, and like the punch is funny, cool, but it was the way she rapped there that really earned kind of like the pop for it. Unfortunately, she kind of lost her breath afterwards, which is something she even brings up later in the battle, how people have critiqued her for that. It wasn't too bad. I think it takes energy away from the back half of her first a bit, but she still lands a bomb here, which we're going to talk about. So nothing too bad. She's the Joe Budden podcast scheme to follow. Talk about Ish, Melissa Ford, a couple, references in there. She is the ball game Hitman angle, relating Viixen being under Hitman, you know what I'm saying? And then she was going like ball game. Would rap a bar and then like start like ball games. So it was a whole concept. I just didn't like it. It didn't go on too long, but I just wasn't a fan of it. The Whoa Vicky bar was clever, kind of funny afterwards. And then the bomb I was talking about, bitch, I'm from New Orleans. They've been calling me Wody all my life. Perfectly tailored. Viixen being Woman of the Year. You from New Orleans. Wody. Like, man, I love that bar. You know what I'm saying? So incredible towards. And then she's a couple bars at the end. About how Casey actually beat Viixen. Of course, she's going to say that, right? Viixen took attention away from the face, so I thought that was all right. And then she has the tailor-made bar at the end, Snoop with the Drake like it's AI generated. So overall, although a couple bars towards that first half, like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan of. She's the Wody bar. I love the first half of her first, so very formidable first by Official. And then it's on Viixen. She is this opener talking to Smack, and she kind of asked a question to the crowd, did I fall off or did battle rap fall off? And mix that into like kind of counter-rating about her OnlyFans. Like I was so bored, I went and made OnlyFans instead of battling you bitches. And I definitely get the thing here, but the uninspired delivery, I don't like the whole did I fall off or did battle rap fall off? Yeah, I had a rough year. You know what I'm saying? It happens. Like, and obviously it's all like, it's just counter-writing. It's trying to set a picture, paint the narrative. I didn't like the opener. I did not like the opener. But from there, I like the rest of her first round a lot. Like Yo Body, I'm big back. Obviously funny, pretty clever. I'm about to 3-0-0 Leonidas. I like that bar. Dump the clip. Now it's 16-0. I'm undefeated. I like that bar. And then you get into what always happens with Viixen battle. You get in that signature flow, which was early in the battle, obviously, is refreshing. Big blade, cut this, swipe that. Like that's not what she said, but obviously you know the flow I'm referring to, especially if you're a Viixen fan. Clip so long. When I came back, I had a ticket. I thought that was pretty dope. The just in case scheme. She did a few of these where she took like a word. It was like just in case. Or it's like just in case. Like she broke it down 5 or 6 different ways, trying to work the pen. I like that. Jim Jones and Chrissy, you're never gonna make it official. I like that. That might have been the best bar of her first round, to be honest with you. But it's kind of similar to O's first. Not that there was any like breath control different issues, but I didn't just love the ending that much. She is this kind of fat joke segment, and then talking about for your period, you probably use big ass pads, linebacker, which is actually pretty funny. You break the wordplay down, but I thought the delivery on it was a little weird. And for the most part, those jokes weren't hitting. That these clap, know your place bar, the light effect bar I actually thought was pretty dope. The bringing out my hoe side, I thought was like okay. And then she has the ain't have a butt, she can have mine. I actually thought that was really clever. And then she had a gesture, because official's name is Jess. So like I said, a couple bars at the end that wasn't, jokes I wasn't liking, but overall I think it's a close first round. I will say though, I did have Viixen 1-0 when I watched the live Edge. I still think it's a very close round. You pick Viixen 2-1, I'm not mad at it, but I am kind of seeing on the playback some of the things I was hearing in the building, because people looked at me and were kind of telling me they had official for the most part. We were just debating it, and I kind of understand here, even though I'm not, they both had a couple bars I'm not the biggest fan of, right? But I like kind of those peaks that official reached a little bit higher. And one thing Viixen does this whole battle is she might beat official on the punch count, but I really think O was maybe a little bit more efficient in landing some of those kind of more peak punches. And then obviously her having those pockets at the beginning really set a different pace for her. So I have official 1-0 on the watch back, but it could go either way. And then you get into the second round, and I'm not going to lie, it's pretty smooth sailing here for how to call it. But official goes, and this is official's weakest round of the battle by far. Early 2000s, we need the real Viixen opener. Thought that was cool. She had a Ben Simmons bar in here. It's a different kind of Ben Simmons bar. It wasn't nothing too crazy. Colombiana bar. I thought that was dope. She gets into another one of these pockets. So once again, getting into the pockets. Talking about no kids. Why would I care about V-Tech? I thought that was dope at the end of the pocket. And then from there, she has, it's kind of an attempt, I feel like, at some very tailored material, which I think she does better in the third, even did a little bit better in the first at times. But just a few different angles, like a resume breakdown of Viixen's and saying this white girl's been struggling in the big league, like Caitlin Clark. And I definitely understand, current event bar, Caitlin Clark is not struggling. And overall, like, I wouldn't have minded the bar. I thought it was like a cool bar, you know what I mean? But like, I don't think I was bought into the build-up at all. Like, the resume breakdown, she just didn't earn it. So when you get to the end, it's just kind of a lot of time spent on an angle that I feel like didn't really get you too far anywhere. And then the Assassin for Hitman bar at the end. So overall, like, you hear my notes. Obviously not too much to take away from that second. Felt like a bit of a shorter round too. I could be wrong. And then Viixen goes, and she has her best round of the battle in the second. She does a recent career breakdown of O. So kind of returns that favor immediately. Talking resume and talk about how she's choked recently. How she hadn't made any of the top 10s for WOTY, which I think is a great, like, overall, both of them are going to go back and forth about who fell off, whose careers where. Like, do you really rank over me now, or is my legacy too big for you to ever catch? Like, that's the conversation throughout the battle, and I thought this is some of the best that either side did of it, of her not being on the WOTYs. And then she had, a vagina scheme, right? But we've heard 1,000,009 of them. However, she has she act like she birthed Canal Street. Like, she carry babies all around. For you to risk trying to serve Vix while ovarian, I'm about to break this pussy down. Like, I thought an ovarian, like, sure, she's varying in consistency and performance. I thought, like, for a scheme I've heard 1,000,000 times, I make fun of schemes a lot on here, I thought that was a very direct way of doing it, and I thought it started off her round great. Then she did this, compared her to the letter O, like O is the 15th letter in the alphabet, 17th letter, some shit like that. And she said, which represents you, like near middle of the pack. Kind of a clever way of going about it. She's this alliteration where she uses like all O words, like back to back to back. Obliterate, the oblivion, and then she gets to for one word to describe me, ovation. I'm a clap something. That was cool. Split O, make parentheses, that like little clever shit like that. Razor like pads, always ultra thin. That was crazy. I'm black and white and earn my stripes. I'm the real official. I thought that was dope. So by then, she had already won the round by this point, in my opinion. And she kept going. She kind of breaks down O style a little bit. Doesn't spend too long on it, but for someone that was on the end of the other end of like a historic style breakdown, shows that she's adding a little bit to her game and learning. The Bardashians overshadowing official kind of has a whole angle about that. I thought that was like, all right, just now it's character assassination. Now we're just taking shots everywhere, and that's when you're on a roll in England. That's what you're supposed to do. She must be a license. Then talking about how official's career has never grown after the Bardashians angle, and says she must be a vice lord the way that she hates growth and development. Oh, so she's landing with power towards the end of the second. From top tier to at the bottom crying, fighting your demon. It's like fighting in your dreams. Those punches ain't as hard as they seem. You need to wake up. So Viixen puts on a masterclass. Like, this is a great Viixen second round. And then on top of that, it's in front of the weakest O round. So it's like by a large margin in the second that Viixen gets it. So for anyone that has Viixen edging her the first, you could have her winning the battle up to this point, 2-0, because she clearly got the second. But edged official the first, so I got it 1-1 going into the third. So it's back on official to start the third, and I think her third, I'm just going to say it now, is a great response after the dip in the second, and she starts off continuing that conversation they're having about careers falling off, comparing their careers to each other, and she starts by reflecting on her own career now. So she's talking about how she choked a couple times and people got down on her, but when these other rappers choke way more, y'all still call them the best, and then starts reviewing her own resume of battlers she's battled. She named like 4 or 5 top tiers. She said Rum, punched with Rum and gave him everything he could handle. Took Disaster on the West like an earthquake. I like that. And this is where the momentum builds. The Disaster bar. What you know about not having no ass but still got a C twerk. Haymaker to follow that. And what does she follow that with? She goes with the flow, remix to the Kendrick flow. You don't know nothing about that. And leads it all up into I could fall off 10,000 feet and land higher than wherever you peaked at. And I love that bar. And the reason why is, like, one, she earned that with the rapping ability, like all the momentum she built up into that moment. And, even though I don't actually think, like, there's that much of a gap between. I mean, obviously, Official's the better all-time battler. I don't think Viixen got a Wody to her name, man. She's done some things, right? But the thing I love about it is, while it's that little bit of a stretch of the truth, right? And while it's kind of simple in nature, like, I could fall off forever, 10,000 feet, and I'll still be higher than your best. I just love, like, in battle rap, that's you can make something that simple hit so effectively. Like, that's really what effective angling is you have me so bought up to this point. We talked about career all battle, and you've almost counter-wrote and flipped it on her, so when you get to a bar that's even simple like this, it still hits at like a crazy level. So the simplicity of it is really the beauty for me, and by this point in the round, we're just like not even halfway through the third, and it is my favorite round of hers in the battle. I just love the way that she approached it. From there, she has the Pinky bar to follow, which leads into the OnlyFans kind of jokes and angles versus Viixen, which you would expect in this battle. Funny to lead the Pinky bar into that kind of, once again, an example of just the little details in writing. But everyone uses it versus Viixen, right? Including herself uses the angle every battle. So she's the knife in her gut. I still put Viixen on the blade. I thought that was dope. The difference between an Assassin, a Viixen, an Assassin this, a Viixen this, and it's all a play off of the concept Loso used versus Viixen, because she ends it with in front of Jazz, the rapper, but in front of Rajan, Cox, referring to Surf. So, kind of a play on that, still going at her for being a hoe, you know what I'm saying, her morals. Has the Diddy bar after, which everyone's got a goddamn Diddy bar nowadays. Talked about my braids and I shot her. I got a hair trigger. I have heard a lot of hair trigger bars recently, but pretty clever one to end. And unlike her first, there's just not bars that I don't like or have to pick out there. I love the approaches in this third. For the OnlyFans, you know what I'm saying, it is what it is. But I love that first half of the third. And for me, it's Official's best round of the battle. And then Viixen goes. And I thought she started well. I can't give a bitch flowers concept, which is like, I can't give a bitch flowers that da-da-da-da. I can't give a bitch flowers that da-da-da-da. And then she has this little garden scheme after that I thought was dope, where she said, y'all won't tell her flowers are dead because y'all prefer the lies. And let it soil her reputation. So prefer the lies, fertilize, soil the reputation. So I thought that was dope. The open safe bar I thought was dope. Went into a whole open scheme. Open this. Yeah, I'm half white, right? So y'all switch with me. I thought that was cool. The Zion bar was cool. The little Breakfast Club bar, which reminded me of Official's Joe Budden bar, I believe it was in the first round, where a couple references of who's on there. So I thought that was dope, but it's really this back half of the third that I just feel like loses Viixen the battle. Although, like, I'm just going to say, I say that now, but you can call it first either way. But in terms of this third, for me, she is the official don't know when to call it quits, which I thought was dope, but then she just punches the rest of her third, and it kind of reminds me of Jazz's second verse her, where she goes into her signature flow again that she used in the first in this round, and it just falls flat. She takes an angle about official, like, stinking, you know what I'm saying, and then just raps about that towards the end. And it's just flat angling. There's a lot of O flips, which I'm not going to... It felt like it was almost overdone at that point, right? I don't think she overdid him throughout the battle, but when your opponent's got that third, she continues that conversation with her best angling to respond with the flow we know that you have, which you've already used in this battle, and then, like, just a weird, like, you stink angle. It just wasn't her best material, so I feel like the back half of her third, similar to how Official second was her worst round, I feel like this makes this Viixen's worst round, and why I had Official winning the third clear, and overall winning the battle 2-1, first edge, third clear. And that is my full review here for Official versus Viixen. Overall, still a really good battle. Sometimes I could be harsh on the lows and like really overemphasize the what I like in the battle. But that's to show like where the separation purely is for me. Even with those critiques I gave, I still feel like both of them had a very good battle. And like I said, gave one of their better performances. I think Viixen, like if you do have a case for Viixen first and second. And although I don't like the back half or third, her second is my favorite round from Viixen in quite some time. I might actually like it more than anything she rapped to Chilla or Yoshi or this recent run of pretty good battles. So this might be one of her best rounds ever since like her run when she was like battling Rock, you know what I'm saying, all the way leading up into the Jazz battle. So once again, she's trending in the right direction. I think this is big for Official because although similar to I didn't like Viixen's third that much, I didn't like Official second that much, her first and third are both in conversation for some of her better rounds recently. I prefer the third, like I said. I just thought, like, the convo that they had back and forth about this battle, about career, like, kind of after the face-off they had earlier in the night, it's actually just, like, a good little example of, like, proper storytelling for the battle. Obviously, this battle feels like they talked about was supposed to happen before. Viixen didn't want to do it. Like, it had been overdue, and the conversation was that of a battle that hadn't went on for a minute, and there was a little bit of a storyline to it, on top of them punching well. So you guys, please let me know if you've seen the battle, who you have winning down below. I think it comes down to the first no matter how you call it. But we'll see, because I also believe that Bullpens, I think the event was called You Had to Be There. I didn't remember the event last video. They're going to have Bad News and JC and Twerk and Clone dropping at some point, hopefully soon. I heard Bad News might have beat JC. I don't know. I'm going to have to see that for myself, right? But so expect other just straight battle reviews like this for those battles when they come out. But it's been J Smo Reviews again, y'all. As I said, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know who you thought won between Official and Viixen. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.